So I'll give you just a quick synopsis. So I was in a dead-end job making $7.50 an hour back in 1987. And I didn't go to college, so I didn't really feel I had a special skill set how I'm going to make some money, right? And I knew $7.50 an hour wasn't enough to support my family. And when I looked through everything, I thought, okay, I like people, I like real estate, maybe I could be a realtor, you know? So that was kind of like my plan. So I get my real estate license. I had a dead-end job I hated, so I left on Friday, didn't give him any notice, because he was a pill. And I started in real estate Monday morning at 8:30, so I show up at the office, and of course at 8:30 in the morning no one's there. I didn't realize realtors don't start until 9 or 10 or whatever. So I get into the office, and the secretaries are all there drinking their coffee, BSing, and they say, hey Dom, what are you doing here? You're gonna be late for work. And I said, with a big smile, I got great news. I quit my job, I'm gonna be a full-time realtor. And they looked at me like, you what, you idiot? And right then I thought, you know what, where's the bucket? Because I think I'm gonna throw up right now. So that was my plan of action. So I sat in the office for 2 hours in my little cubicle, trembling, thinking, holy crap, I think I made a mistake. So now remember, this is before fax machines, before Windows, before technology, before Google and YouTube, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, like, can I get my job back? I didn't give a notice, so I know I'm gonna get my job back. So I was scared, I mean, beyond belief. So this is not the strategy to use when you start in real estate. But what happened was, since I did make the decision, and then the broker came in and said, hey, congratulations, I heard you're going to be a full-time realtor, you know, you're going to be awesome, and blah, 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 and says, well, what have you been doing? And I said, nothing, just thinking about what I'm going to do. And I didn't do anything, I was just thinking about it. She goes, well, grab that phone book out of the drawer. And I said, I grabbed it, and she says, open it up. And I said, okay, just start making calls. I'm like, what? And I said, what am I supposed to say? I don't even know anything. You know, so she says, oh, just say hi, my name's Dominic Infante, I'm a new real estate agent, just wonder if you're thinking of buying or selling. Who are you? Click, 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 click. And then I had to go home because I was embarrassed. Because agents were starting to come in hearing me, I was humiliated. And I was thinking to myself, I definitely made a big mistake. So that's why I picked that question. So let me just tell you what I recommend.
That's why you picked it, he's going to get to answer it.
But you need to understand, like, look at me today, but think back, what really happened. So the reality is this, you gotta understand why are you getting into real estate. Don't say, I love showing houses, I like decorating, I just always had a passion for it, I like open houses. That's not enough, let me tell you. You'll be the 87% out. So you have to have a compelling reason. So let me just say how I succeeded. So I succeeded because of fear of failure, fear of losing my family, fear of bankruptcy, fear of being a loser, you know? So it was like fear of working at Walmart. I mean, the point is that, you know, it's scary. So you have to have a compelling reason why you want to be in real estate. Think about it. I'm an entrepreneur. I can create my own destiny. I have unlimited potential of income earning. And this is no kidding. You can make $30,000, you can make $100,000, $600,000. It doesn't matter. I mean, even though it's hard to envision that because your comfort zone is where you are, what your baggage is, what you grew up with, what your finances look like, but trust me, I'm living proof. It can change and it will change. But you gotta have the compelling reasons why you want it to change. Because I wanna take care of my family, I wanna plan a trip, I wanna build wealth, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. So there's so many things that will take you to where you need to go. But like I said, the first question, get around the people that know it. You know, don't go around the people at the coffee, area in the kitchen complaining about how bad it is. Get around people that are going to lift you up, pull you up, and keep your attitude. I mean, there were days I couldn't even get out of bed. And I'm like, I'm going to go out of bed. I don't know what I'm going to do all day, how I'm going to make a penny. So trust me, man, I get it. But you got to have a compelling reason. Know what that reason is. If you want to make $40,000 and your commission's $2,000, do the math. 40 divided by 2, you need 20 transactions. So you have to understand the roadmap, and you have to do DPA. Rich always taught us DPA. Do you know what DPA is? It's called dollar producing activities. Don't do figure eights all day and go on social media and like a couple things and do this or that. You gotta do DPA or you'll be the 87%. Thank you.
Great.
Brought this to the team whenever he came on with me about 1.5 years ago. was really focusing on doing business and sending our referrals to people that are sending referrals to us. So making sure all the alliances that we have are reciprocal. So that was kind of a no-brainer once he introduced that. So we've really made that a point to do business with the people who are doing business with us. And then also, we've implemented this year a 33 touch program for our past clients. Oh, sorry. A 33 touch program for our past clients. So the idea is we want to have some type of interaction with them 33 times a year. So that seems like a lot, but 4 of those, we're making a personal call every quarter is how that works out. The other things are, sometimes through social media, through our email newsletters, through mailers that we're sending in the mail, birthday gifts, holiday cards, things like that. But we have a system in place that we are going to put ourselves in front of them 33 times a year. So we're always top of mind and staying relevant in their lives and knowing, we want to know about them personally, what's going on. We don't want, our relationship to end after the transaction. We want to make personal, meaningful relationships with our clients. And then another thing that we're doing is farming. This is something we've talked about for a while, but this year we actually have a game plan to get to farm our neighborhood. So last year we put together a community yard sale, and that's something that we plan to do again this year. So we made flyers and actually walked door to door and got to know a lot of people in our community. So we plan to do that again, and then also mailers. We want to do quarterly postcard mailers to our neighborhood. And then another one that's really easy, and we do this really without thinking about it, but on Facebook, we always friend request our clients or people that we're doing business with. And we like to share a bit about our lives. We love to travel, and Chris loves to do travel videos. So it's amazing, I'll run into people and, they're interested in what we're doing. And I think we're adding some level of entertainment to their lives. So those are the 3 big things that we're focusing on for referral business this year.
So talk to me about the 33 touch. It seems like an overwhelming process if you have more than 2 people in your database. Like, how are you managing a 33 touch program? Like, do you have to remember when to reach out to them? Is that just part of your CRM? How do you implement a 33 touch program for somebody who may think that that's overwhelming?
It's part of the CRM, and kind of back to that drip campaign, that reminds us. So 12 of the touches are the market update. We put that on social media, and then we also email that out to all the clients in our database. So right there, if we're doing a market update every single month, that's 12 touches right there. And then on top of that, we're going to have a home anniversary. We're going to send a home anniversary card. And that's something our CRM is going to remind us about also. Birthdays, that's in the CRM and also on our personal calendar. Holidays, that's just across the board for everyone for the holidays. We're going to do a football schedule this year, so around football season, everybody's going to get one of those. So really the CRM is what reminds us, and we've just put the work in at the front end so we get the reminders as those things happen.
Okay, so it's really, once it's set up in your CRM, it's really just a matter of daily logging in, and then the CRM tells you exactly what you need to do, right?
Right.
It's really that simple.
Doing the action, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so you cannot go on social media without seeing Casey. If you're friends with him, he uses social media great. He does a great job with it. So talk to us specifically about what you're using social media for, the benefits of it, and just kind of some of the success you've had with it.
Sure, no. Obviously, social media is a huge platform anymore. Whether you're doing it personally or for business reasons or whatever, everybody finds a way to be a part of a social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything you can imagine. There's all these platforms out there, right? So when I got into the business, social media was there. People were using it for business, but for me, I kind of saw it as a different avenue, a way to connect with people. I think that's the big thing in the way that I utilize social media is more of putting out real content, right? When you're in any sort of business, people get kind of, bogged down with the traditional, like, hey, we're selling this, we're doing this, just like very salesy, like boring kind of stuff. People just kind of usually scroll on past that, right? So for me, the idea that I had was I wanted to make content that was relatable, content that was more positive and celebrating, what we do as agents was kind of my goal behind that. So when I started into Facebook and Instagram, that kind of stuff, I wanted to make sure that, when I sold something, that we highlight these buyers making, probably one of the biggest transitionary purchases of their lives that they do, maybe once, twice, maybe a few times. So being able to kind of put that out there and kind of promote that positivity was huge. So I think, the biggest piece is having real content that people can kind of relate to. No matter if they're old or young or whatever, everybody likes to see somebody, buying a house, moving forward, all good things, right? So putting that kind of stuff out there, and then I think being authentic about it. People can tell in a hurry. There's a phrase that's like, real recognizes real, right? So if you're really genuine when you're putting this content out there, people can feel that, they can sense that. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, but you'd be surprised how true it is in terms of really kind of putting yourself out there and getting the client's story and just really putting them on the forefront of that. You get the benefit from it, but when you're putting other people first, I think that comes around tenfold. I know some people in this room are big on karma, so when you're really kind of promoting somebody else and showing their positive light, it plays a big factor. So doing that, I think the other thing too is being consistent. A lot of times in any of these like panels or like I know Dom had mentioned Tom Ferry. I'm part of the Tom Ferry coaching thing, and whenever he has an event, I make it out to it, and I'm all pumped up right after, like, let's go make it happen, right? And then you get back after that 3 days, and you're kind of like, what the hell do I do now? You know what I mean? You lose that like motivation, that thing. So that's the big thing. It's exhausting sometimes because I'll talk on this in a little bit, but everybody that comments on something that I post, I take the time to comment back, right? Because if someone's going to take the time out of their day to comment to you and promote positivity or whatever, they deserve a response, in my opinion. That's like inviting people to a game. So your post is the game. Think about this. You invite them all to this big game, and then the game never happens. They don't get any interaction. You know what I mean? There's no interaction based on what they're doing. So I think getting back to people plays a part. It does get exhausting, but being consistent with that message and what you're trying to promote is so important on social media. And let's be real. I mean, it's a free avenue, and then every time you're posting something, somebody sees like, oh man, you're killing it. But it's all about utilizing the different angles too, right? So I don't care if you sell Jose houses, you're talking crazy number of houses, or if you sell 10 houses a year, it doesn't matter. You analyze a transaction. So say you have a listing, right? You can do a post just listed so everybody sees it. You can do a post when you get it under contract. You can do a post when you close it. There's 3 opportunities in every single sale to have some sort of marketing with just one property, right? So being able to expand the content from just one piece to a couple different pieces to kind of, again, promote what you're doing, because out of sight, out of mind. And I think the biggest other, cliche is perception is reality, right? So it doesn't matter if you're selling, 12 houses, but if you're putting out 3 times the content based on one thing, it's going to be huge. So I think being consistent with your message, and then I think the other thing too, a lot of times people are afraid to show their personal lives on social media, or they feel like, oh, since I'm in the business sector, I can't show anything personal. I think that's a bunch of crap, to be honest with you. I think people in any business now, since sales has shifted from a transactional business to a relationship business, we're kind of far away from the times of like, hey, we did a deal, I got my money, we'll see you later, thanks. Now it's so much like Amy had said, she's touching her sphere 33 times. That's amazing. I mean, those people are going to become not just clients, but they're going to be referral partners. They're going to be people that are pushing for, they become friends, right? So I think showcasing your personal life with these people kind of forms that bond and makes it stronger. And then maybe people that you haven't worked with, again, they're getting a sense for your personality. And what I've found is people connect with the oddest things. Like, I've gained clients. I got a message the other day, like I have an Australian Shepherd, his name's Ace, he's a great dog, but I had a message me like, oh my God, I love Australian Shepherds, and it's like you wouldn't think that would resonate with somebody, or like, it's just interesting how you can connect with people that way, for sure.
So at a practical level, when you start working with a new client, do you friend them right away? Do you friend them after the transaction? How are you building that platform of different people that you're connected with on social media?
No, great question. So I think when you initiate any contact with somebody, whether it be at an open house or I add them off the start. Just because, again, I always call it marketing by osmosis. I have another habit too of maybe some for sale by owners, like this is another thing you can do. they get all these calls of people like, oh, hey, I want to list your house or whatever, right? I will find out who the owner is. I'll add them on Facebook, but I won't say anything. I'll just, hey, just listed, just sold, blah, blah, blah. They see.
So I know for my buyer's agents that I have, and I would be happy to share this with anyone, we have a list of how to build your database. And there is probably 100 different categories of things that you probably don't think about on a daily basis. For instance, where do you take your dog to get groomed? They know who you are. Are they in your database? They should be. Your dentist, your doctors, I mean, all these people that know you, they may have affiliations with other agents, but are those agents touching them 33 times? Are they reaching out to them? That's how you can stand out. So it's building that from the people that you interact with a day. Who do you give 10 cards to a day? Open houses, being prepared, knowing your market. And when those people, when they meet you and you know what you're talking about, and you introduce yourself with confidence, they'll remember you. And then stay in touch with them.
Excellent. So we're obviously in a tight market. There's not a lot of listings out there. This question is for Casey. What are you doing to capture listings in a competitive market where agents are doing whatever they have to get the listing? There's just not a lot of sellers out there right now. What are you doing to actually get your sign in the yard and get listings?
And I think that's a great question, obviously, and I heard this the other week or something, and I don't know how true it is, but somebody said inventory is like 27% lower now than it normally is or whatever, which creates a lot of buyers out there kind of looking for the same thing, and the lack of inventory, they're all jumping on. That's why we're seeing multiple offers and seeing these houses go so quickly. So honestly, in this kind of market, in order to, they say you got to list to last, essentially. And I think when you control the inventory, that's when you kind of control the realm, especially for your buyer's agents and things like that. So things that I've done that I've really poured into in this point is again, that building relationships piece. I think Dom said it earlier, people want to work with people that they like. And so in a competition where there's a lot of agents out there all vying for these listings, they want to go with the person that they connect with the best or have that relationship with the best. So I think no matter where you're at, whether it's the grocery store or the gym or, you need to put out there that you are an agent, right? So, and I forget what group it's from, but they say don't be a secret agent, essentially, like you could be a real estate agent, but you're not, people don't know, you're not having that information out there. So I think it's so crucial, no matter where you're at, you're on the golf course, whatever, of finding a way to bring up that you're in real estate. Because let's be real, number one, everybody loves talking about houses. I get it all the time, whether they're in the market now or in the future, they enjoy it. So finding creative ways to insert it. I had this Chad right here, he's one of my agents, and he's got a killer medical sales job, and he's around a lot of highly influential people. Chad had the issue at one point, he's like, I don't want to just throw out there that I'm an agent, but now he's starting to put it out there, and it's paying off tenfold for him. So really putting yourself out there, I think, is the big thing with the lack of inventory. And again, getting involved in the community events and any way you can drum up business that's not out there yet, but almost pipeline business, right? You want to monetize your pipeline and know what's going to be there. So for me, in this tight inventory, I really shifted back and focused all on having the relationships, so I'm top of mind of that person or whoever they know down the line. And then I think the other piece of it is hustling. I mean, just getting out there and getting after it. I mean, it's easy to be lazy and kind of just take the business that comes to you. But when you're diligent about doing your lead gen, like Jen said, doing your lead generation and make sure you're doing that every day, you're going to cultivate a lot more business. I mean, I know it sucks to think you have to do it, but if you're really hustling and you go out there, hard work is going to win every time. And for the new agents out there, I mean, obviously you got a lot of high producing individuals here that I still look up to. I mean, I'm only 4.5 years into this business, and I learn a lot from all these people. I mean, I think we all do, but we take a look at everybody's system and what they're doing and what's working, and eventually you get to a point where, you get to a level like Jose or Jen or any of these people up here, and it becomes easier to get those listings. But I think when you're starting out, it's that hustle component. It's like, they may, it might be you and another agent, but if they get the sense that you're gonna, bust your butt for them and go to work, they're gonna go with you. So I think having that mentality, that motivation innately in this market is gonna pay off tenfold as well. So again, focus on the relationships, and then don't be a secret agent. Put it out there any way you can. I don't care what you're doing, what it is. Find a way to bring up you're an agent so they know, and then work hard for it.
Well, what we're finding this year in particular is that we're working more with sellers than buyers. And we're glad for that because there's just such a shortage of inventory. So finding a home for a buyer is really, I think, a challenge today. But what is working, if I could say that one thing that is really working well for the Farron Group is the coming soon strategy. And the last 8 houses, the last 7 houses that we have sold this year, we've employed this coming soon strategy. And it just seems that every seller out there still has something they have to finish, have to do in order to get their house ready to sell. And so that affords us the opportunity to use that coming soon strategy. And every time that we've used it this year, it's 7 times.
So talk to us about what is that strategy? What is the coming soon strategy?
Well, we can put a house, as probably most of you know, you can put a house on the market or put it into the MLS as a coming soon listing. It's not active yet, but we're not allowed to show it, but we can advertise it as coming soon. And what has happened for us when we do that is that it creates a buzz for the listing. And so the day that it actually goes active, we have a whole line of people waiting to get into that house. And what has happened for us is that every single house has sold within 1 or 2 days, with the exception of one house. One house took 7 days, but every other house, no, that's fucking good. One house was 7 days, all the rest of them were sold within 1 or 2 days. They sold with multiple offers, and every single one of them sold over the asking price. Now, the nice thing about this coming soon strategy is that it allows us to get completely ready to go, so that we're not putting a house on the market and then getting the brochure done and getting all the pictures in and so forth. Well, we think that it's real important that on day 1 that you are ready to go, and that has worked. That's one thing that's just worked really well for us.
Very good.
So you gotta remember, it's kind of like if you get in a fight, you don't just go punch once, you gotta have 1, 2, boom, boom. So, if you guys can relate to that, the 1-2 punch. So what would happen is, so let's say, for example, you did a little video clip. So you can go find me on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. And it might say, spring market update. It could be 30 seconds long, 40 seconds long. You don't want it to be like hours long because people are gonna snooze. So something kind of interesting, and then it goes to a landing page. So the landing page might be, and if you guys want, you can put this in your mental check mark, Dom. You know what I'm gonna say? Say it for him.
What's my homeworth.com? What's my homeworth.com?
Yeah, so if you Google that or go to domwhatsmyhouseworth.com, and the reason why I do that is because everybody wants to know what their house is worth. So you want to get people to raise their hand before they have a relationship. Even if it's a nosy neighbor, it's it's not even the house sell. Let's say I'm looking to downsize in a few years, and I'm just like an engineer, so I want to start the process 5 years early and start getting educated about the process. Look at everybody laughing, so you guys can relate. But anyhow, so what happens is you say, in 2019, going into the spring market, we used to have 10 months of inventory during the downtime. Now we're about 2.7. What that means is we have a pent-up buyer demand for a home like yours. And if you'd like to find out what your home value is, go to domwhatsmyhouseworth.com and find out now. So that's basically what you do, and you get them to go to the landing page, and then you capture their email, and then you send them a video, so it makes it more personalized. And so what you're doing is that not that they'll turn into everything, but you're building your database, like Jen said. I mean, obviously, when you're a new agent, it's like, you can't hug your bill collectors, you need money. So some of these things we're talking about are long view things. But you always have to look at it in the long view perspective because, we need immediate cash to keep this machine running. But then once you start building, what Casey says, know, like, and trust, which is going to happen if you do a nice job, and it's pretty much systemizing the process, and then you just have a landing page, whatever that may be.
Okay, so some people don't know what a landing page is.
Okay,
so let's explain what a landing page is and what do you do when you get to that landing page?
Okay,
Why is that important?
so if you, after you leave, just check it out. Just go to Google and type in what'smyhouseworth.com. Then it will take you somewhere. And when you get to that somewhere place, you type in what it tells you to do, which would be where do you live, what's your full name, and your email. And then within 30 seconds, you get this cool report.
And so it spits out approximate market value of
Right.
your houses, right?
But
A big range, right?
a huge range.
Right.
So then what happens is, then you follow up with them, because you don't have their phone number, because they don't want you harassing them like a car salesman. What you do is you send them a video and say, hey, my name's Dominic, thanks for the request. I just wanted to let you know, this is a ballpark figure. If you need a more accurate evaluation, reach out to me anytime, no obligation. And then then you follow up with the drip campaign after that. So that's basically what you do to build that longer term relationship, because we're in a tight market. And there's a million of us out there, and if you think about it, most buyers or sellers, we'll say sellers in this case, between age 25 and 75, maybe have 3, maybe 4 real estate transactions. So really they don't get it, and even if we don't get it, we get it more than they do, right? So you're basically educating them with whatever information. It's not just asking for the sale, but providing them information so that you're the expert. So when in 2 years that engineer makes the decision, or immediately, then they're going to think, Jose's the man. I'm going to call him. Thank you.
What's your morning routine like?
And I agree with this wholeheartedly, and we talk at our team meetings often about your daily routine. My daily routine looks like this. My alarm goes off at 4:30 and my feet are on the ground by 4:35. I'm at the gym or on the streets by 5 to 5:15, home by 6:30, 6:45, and I devote usually about 15-20 minutes to just meditating, just sitting, devotions, gratitude, whatever, just my cup of coffee, myself, and my thoughts before my kids get up. Then kids get up and breakfast made, lunches, kids off to school, and then I take a little time to dig into my day, make my to-do list, and then our morning phone call as a team happens around 8:30. And then typically that's when I get in the shower. So yeah, realtors don't really start till about 10 o'clock with appointment days. So, but that's every day. I take one day off.
So that's a little overwhelming, probably for the majority of us. How did you start that? Like, okay, so let's say that's not someone's normal routine. How do you start that? Where do you go? I mean, what do you do to start even?
I mean, honestly, I think it's looking into yourself and what helps motivate you. For me, I know my motivation is getting physical activity in the morning. I mean, even when I was on crutches and in a full brace on my leg, I was in the gym 5 days after surgery. It just, that's what is important to me. So it's finding your why, what motivates you in the morning, what makes your mind clear. And I think starting with that, and I would highly suggest gratitude to everyone, that sets your mind straight. Being thankful for everything that we all have and have been given, so.
Okay, Joanne?
Okay, the older version of that story. My morning starts out between 5:30 and 6 with coffee. I crawl out to the coffee pot. But seriously, I do have quiet time. I like to meditate, say a little prayer, and I'm going to pray for my driving since my car magnets are on there. And also, I like to gather my thoughts. It's probably the only time of day I have to gather my thoughts. I answer some emails, and then I write down what my plan is for that day, what my goal is to accomplish. Then I prioritize what I plan on doing that day, and try and check those things off as I get them done. And just gathering my thoughts and getting ready to go for the day.
Just have a game plan. You know, when I got into this, you kind of jump into real estate, it tends to be chaotic. You know, I was just talking to Jose and Dahmer, like running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. You know, you just don't know what direction to go, where to go. I think you're so busy chasing down the leads and trying to get the business and trying to close the deals that you lose sight of having a vision or a game plan in place. And I think if you look at any successful team or entity in this business, they're a well-oiled machine. And not to keep bringing up like Jose's organization or anybody up here, mine, I'm working on getting it there, but having a game plan together of a vision of where you want to go. Because if you have that goal and that vision in mind, then you create the steps to get there, right? So I think my biggest downfall when I got started was take anything and everything, run like a madman, close as much as you can, and I think you can get burnt out. And I don't know if Jose remembers this, but I remember probably 2 or 3 years ago, I talked to Amy and got to meet Jose for the first time, and I think I did about maybe 80 transactions that year by myself. I didn't really have an admin. I was kind of losing my mind, you know. I felt like, oh my God, I'm getting burnt out. This sucks, you know, at the end of the day. And Jose said to me, and you still have Patty, right? Patty's still, okay. This phrase he said to me, I'll never forget it. He said, you need to get you a Patty, right? Which was someone who is just that solid, like, admin, that person that can really be your anchor and do everything for you. And I'm fortunate enough, I have lovely Jean right here. She's been with me for a while. She's just amazing. It's transformed my business, but it's helped me get that game plan. So these younger agents or even older agents, no matter where you're at in the business, make sure to have that game plan and that vision formed, you know, and the steps to get there, I think is so important. I wish I would have known that when I first got started.
Great, thank you. Tim?
I'm kind of old school, so I think that when you're a realtor, we need to do things that will distinguish us from everybody else. Otherwise, we will all look alike. So I want to share a little thing with you that happened recently. I ran into a guy that I didn't know, perfect stranger, and he said to me, "You're the realtor that has the golden retriever. I've seen you on television." Okay, I found this picture last night. I was 25 pounds heavier and I had a lot more hair. Okay, but I used this picture, but it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, and that guy remembered, you're the realtor that has the golden retriever. So that was one thing that I did that distinguished me. And I think that all of us need to find ways to distinguish ourselves from the rest of the pack. Another thing, I think we all send out calendars. I think we all send out calendars. This isn't working. Is it? We all send out calendars, but Emily and I have done a different calendar, and that distinguishes us also. We, being Irish, we put a picture of Ireland out there, and we put our own magnet on it and send it out. So that makes us a little bit different than everybody else that's sending out pictures.